When I first told my baby boomer friends that I was going to be covering aging instead of politics, their reactions were really, I think, telling for the issues that we're discussing today. They kind of fell into three categories. So one group of friends said, "Oh, you're going to be writing about my parents." Because as we all know, baby boomers will never get old. And then there was another group of people who said, "Oh, you're going to be writing about me." And I thought, okay, a little narcissistic, but you know, at least you're in touch with your own aging. And then there was the group of friends who looked at me with really serious concern and went, "Aging? Won't that be depressing?" And I thought, well, I guess it would be if you thought of aging as nothing but loss and disability, but I don't think of it that way. I'm sure none of the people in this room think of it that way, and my friends needn't have worried about me, because this really has been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my career. So these reactions meant, for at least 2/3 of these people, that aging just wasn't something they'd given any thought to, maybe even avoided thinking about, outside of maybe their parents or their grandparents. And I think that's because the way we organize our lives, as Mark was saying earlier, we don't give ourselves opportunities anymore for different generations to meet each other. So there are exceptions. And a few years ago, I was privileged to do a story on a place called Hope Meadows. And Hope Meadows is in Rantoul, Illinois. It's on the site of the former Chanute Air Force Base. And it was intended to be a place where families adopting children out of foster care could get support. And they wanted to take over a few houses from the, officer housing that they had there. The military wasn't giving away a few houses. The military wanted them to take over 80 units. And what are we going to do with all this? And so they thought, well, maybe some older adults would like to move in here. They'll have affordable rent in exchange for volunteering for a few hours a week. It was an afterthought. But it was quickly apparent that the presence of older adults were the glue that held the whole thing together. And the fact that these older people can be backup for the parents and can be mentors and surrogate grandparents for the kids is what's made Hope Meadows a success. That was 25 years ago. And since then, it's provided a model for similar communities around the country. You're going to hear about one in a few minutes, Bridge Meadows in the Portland area. They're now developing their third community. But there are also other communities where older adults are close neighbors with young mothers aging out of the foster care system, with adults with developmental disabilities, and with military veterans who have traumatic brain injuries. So the report we're discussing today, as Donna has mentioned, notes some challenges in creating these opportunities for generations to mingle. And it's been my observation over the years that I've been reporting this beat that one of the obstacles, whether stated or not stated, for programs that benefit older adults is ageism, pure and simple. The idea that you have nothing to contribute when you're older, that if you're not in the workforce, you're not worthy, and that older people are a drain on resources. So, on the other hand, we know from a number of studies that ageism isn't just sad or unfair, it kills. People who hold ageist beliefs live up to 7.5 years less than people who don't. Holding ageist beliefs also makes it harder to bounce back from a health setback. It even increases the risk of dementia. And in the circles that I travel in these days, there's a lot of talk about how to combat ageism. And what's different about this particular ism is that it's not prejudice against the other. It's not prejudice against a group that's not our own. My favorite definition of ageism is that it's prejudice against our future selves. So one way to combat ageism may be to create more places where young and old can mingle, where they can learn from each other, where we can learn to see ourselves in each other across the generations, and realize that old age isn't something to be ignored or feared. It's something we all aspire to.